Now, my history with MMOs is pretty sparse. I could never really ever get into them, and it was never due to lack of trying. My biggest problem with MMOs is probably their stories and the essays you gotta read every time you try and pick up a quest. Final Fantasy XIV, a beloved MMO and considered to be one of the best out there, had me sitting there in absolute boredom for the first 50 hours of the game with terrible questing, walls of text where I'm sitting there mashing F like I'm playing Mario Party.
I hate this fucking game! I can't mash for shit! God damn it!
And I may get lynched for this, the combat isn't really even that fun. You're sitting there cycling 1, 2, and eventually 3 skills all the way up to level 50 even, and the sequence never gets that complex until you reach some of the level 60 classes, and even then, the combat is still just okay. So there's not really anything good about the game for the first 50 hours or so. Once I made it to Heavensward, the story got a bit better, but the questing still sucked on occasion. Still, to have to wait that long just for the game to get even somewhat decent, and it being considered one of the best MMOs out there, I'm sorry guys, not to shit on 14, but that's just ridiculous. Now, I may have gone on a bit of a tangent, but case in point, maybe I'm just not a fan of MMOs. They take a ridiculous amount of time to even get a little bit of reward from, and I just don't have an insane amount of time to spend on one particular game anymore. And maybe that's why I absolutely loved Dragon Quest X. Now, if you haven't heard of Dragon Quest and you're a fan of JRPGs, what are you doing? This series is amazing and there's not a single bad apple in the bunch, unlike another JRPG franchise that's probably considered more popular. Sorry guys, something got caught in my throat. I started the series with 8, then 7, then 11, and loved all 3 of them. They're amazing single-player experiences, and if you haven't tried out the Dragon Quest series yet, you definitely should. But we're not here to talk about those entries. We're here to talk about Dragon Quest X. Dragon Quest X was a departure for the Dragon Quest series, considering 1 through 9 were all traditional single-player JRPGs. 10 was going to be an MMO, and oh boy, a Dragon Quest MMO? Whew, I don't know how that's exactly gonna work, but hey, I was willing to give it a shot. But sadly, Dragon Quest X never saw the light of day in the West. I mean, this game has been released on so many different consoles. You got the Wii U, the 3DS, the Switch, the PC, the PS4, the goddamn Atari 2600. It's such a widely accessible game, and yet it's totally not because of it only ever being released in Japan. So, what'd your boy do? Well, I weaved up and I bought a damn Japanese elementary textbook, got out Google Translate, looked up some guides, made a Japanese Nintendo account, and downloaded Dragon Quest X on my Switch. If you ain't releasing it here in the US, I'll play it in frickin' Japanese. I don't even care. Oh my god, what the hell does that say? Which option do I pick? Oh, wait, I think I need to go this way. Nope, wait, that was the wrong way. I gotta turn around. Ooh, I got something. I have no idea what though. Man, playing a game in a language you don't understand is rough. But even with all these barriers to entry, I still had more fun with Dragon Quest X than any other MMO I've played ever. You start off the game creating your human avatar. You know, I made him look pretty cool. There are some decent customization options. You can have the Goku hair after all. Come on, how can you not want to play this game? And then, off on the adventure we go. This section is solely single player, so it feels like you're playing a mini Dragon Quest game. Immediately, I'm loving the music. You already know Dragon Quest hits you with those orchestral Mozart masterpieces, so not much to say there. Now, the combat. One of the most important aspects of any MMO. Freaking genius combat. You can run around the field freely while combat is still turn-based. However, unlike Dragon Quest XI, where the free roam aspect was just for show, positioning actually matters in Dragon Quest X. You gotta run when the enemy starts charging up their attack, or you'll be punished. You can push monsters as they try to approach your allies to attack them, because, again, if you're gonna attack something, you better be within range to do so. Now, looking at you, White Knight Chronicles. So with bosses, you'll have your tanks on the front lines, pushing the enemy boss as they try to approach your healers and mage. I mean, this shit is even in the trailer. It's such a cool mechanic to me. More MMOs need to have shit like this in them, for real. So you'll grind for a couple levels outside the village area, get some gold, upgrade your equipment, which actually changes your character and makes you look unique. That's another thing, nobody in the game that I came across looked the same. It was awesome. Gear progression is immediately apparent from level 1, and it doesn't take you until level 50 to notice even the slightest difference. For instance, this was my character at level 1, and this was my character at level 24. There's a huge difference between the two. Speaking of the leveling, you get skill points every time you level up. Depending on which class you picked at the start of the game, your character can equip a variety of different weapons. A sword and shield, two-handed sword, spears, claws, fisticuffs, you name it. You can put skill points within each category to raise your proficiency with that weapon type. The more points you put in, the more abilities you learn, and the more damage you can output with that weapon. So not only do you have to choose a class, you can also then specialize within that class depending on which weapon type you want to use. And all the weapons have entirely different skills. Like, what is there not to love about this game, honestly? Now, let's talk a bit about the story. You may have noticed that I said you start off the game as a human, but I'm playing as a completely different race in some of these clips. So why is my character a different race from the human character I said you start with at the beginning? Dragon Quest X throws that character creation stereotype on its head. The character you create in the beginning actually freaking dies. After beating the first boss, you come back to your village being destroyed. Then this guy with a friggin' scythe just goes, "Shine," and then you get friggin' obliterated. Your soul then inhabits the body of a race of your choosing within the game, and that's truly when your journey begins. You actually can't play as a human in Dragon Quest X. But I do think that might have changed with one of the expansions, as I do see some humans running around in the overworld. Maybe that's a story-related quest for getting your body back. Who knows? That would actually be so cool though. I don't know about all of you, but that was such a huge shock to me when my character died. Not only because I had spent a decent amount of time leveling the character, and you start right back at level 1 afterward, but just as I started to feel a sense of connection with my avatar, the game said, nope, he gone. It was so refreshing to actually be surprised by an MMO for once. So, once you pick a race of your choosing, which consists of the ogres, some people that look like the Zoras, the Maru looking people, the elves, dwarves, and demons, your starting point changes depending on which race you pick. Kinda like Final Fantasy XIV. I picked the ogres and started off in a snowy village, inhabiting the body of a fallen ogre warrior. This is like Majora's Mask, holy shit. Now, I do want to talk a bit about how my experience with the game as an MMO was. Obviously, because of the language barrier, I don't really know how to communicate with other players in the game, let alone how to join someone else's party. I'm just sitting there, the only English-speaking player in the whole vicinity. I'm looking around, all these people speak a different language than me. But regardless of that, this game does feel very much like another single-player Dragon Quest entry, and I've heard that Square Enix does plan to bring an offline version of Dragon Quest X to the West. For God's sake, you can actually save at a church within Dragon Quest X, if that doesn't scream single-player to you, rather than being an MMO. Again, I can't really speak much for the multiplayer aspect of the game, but I still had a blast playing single-player, which just goes volumes to speak for the game's quality. From what I can tell, there are still 6 more continents to explore to finish the base game, and I just got done with the first continent after around 10 hours. One of the continents is dedicated solely to entertainment. On the continent, there's a casino where you can go and waste hours and hours trying to get enough tokens to exchange for cosmetic prizes and rare items. You can go play roulette, slots, and poker, and because this is an MMO, you are literally gambling with other people. For instance, when I went to the roulette table for the first time, there was another player sitting there, and when I sat at the table next to him, I could see what he was betting, and he could see what I was betting, and I just bet against him just to spite him. It was hilarious. If you guys have played Dragon Quest before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But the ability to be in the casino and actively interact with other players brings the casino to a whole new level of fun. But the game does have its problems that also plague other MMOs as well, and I'm not just gonna let them slide. First of all, running from place to place in Dragon Quest X is tedious as hell. I wish they included a sprint function or some sort of mount system, because this shit can be running Simulator 2021 and it gets old really fast. Apparently there's a quest to get this mount that moves you slightly faster that I've seen people riding on, but I don't think it really helped much from what I've seen, and I haven't even gotten around to doing it yet, so slight caveat there, but I absolutely hated the run speed. Secondly, the game is easy. I didn't die on a single boss, and I was putting them on the strong difficulty every single time. Maybe that's just because I'm used to playing Dragon Quest games, but I felt that the difficulty could have used some fine-tuning. Again though, I know how slow MMOs like to ramp up the difficulty, but from the time I played, I still found it a bit too easy for my liking. But I can say that Dragon Quest X had me intrigued in its story, combat mechanics, and environments within the first 10 minutes of the game. It didn't take me 50 plus hours to get to the good part. I mean, just look at this cutscene. Like, did you see that 14 one? And now this one? This is awesome to watch. I'm loving every second. Like, oh god. This game blows Final Fantasy XIV out of the water and any MMO that I've played in recent memory. I really hope Square realizes how well this would actually do in the West if they ever decide to bring the game over locally. Dragon Quest XI has sold over 6 million copies worldwide so far, so hopefully that success gets them to finally take the leap, because I really think that Dragon Quest X would do really well over here. Listen, if you guys want to watch me struggle my way through the game live, trust me, it'll be hilarious, or even anything else Dragon Quest, head on over to my Twitch channel and give it a follow. The link's in the bio, and hey, maybe you guys can even give me ideas on what my next video should be. I'm live on Fridays at 6 p.m. CST. So I better see you guys there so I'm not weebing out alone. And as always guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell in that order specifically, and I'll see you all in the next video.